Well, hello there again, friends and family. So good to see you again. Yeah, on this Saturday. I think it's November the 4th. And surprising to me, maybe surprising to you if you live in the deep south of Alabama, we're 70 degrees today. That hasn't been the case here the last few days. I think yesterday we may have got up to 62. We've had nights where it's bottomed out to 27.6 degrees. It's rather unusual for us this time of year. And then we had another one, 32. And this morning, 35. But now, it's wonderful with clear blue skies. And pardon me for being a little bit scruffy and scroungy. I've been spending a lot of time working outdoors and also doing my investigations and research in the tyrant that dictates how we live our lives. Yeah, as you know, if you watched the last video, I'm going after one of the monopolies, the biggest one in the state, that has the biggest impact on all our lives. Yeah, just one little old man against Goliath. We'll see all how that comes out. But I'll never stop. But with all that said, with everything weighing heavily on my mind, there's just sometimes you got to do something for you. And for me, just like back in the past, when times were so hard and money was so tight, with my mother and my father during the late 60s and, well, really in the mid 60s through the 70s, on occasion, not every month, and not more than once a month, we'd take that Sunday drive. Well, we're going to take a Saturday drive today. And Alice, she hasn't been driven much, and she's wanting to run. So come along. What do you say? Spooky, you want to come too? You gonna ride shotgun? Well, you better jump in fast, because we got it. The friends and family coming along too. Okay? Hey, you can always ride on the console. Okay? Yep, does appear Spooky wants to come along too. And the leaves are starting to fall. And like always, this time of year, maybe there'll be some color. Maybe not. That's just the way it is in the deep south in the fall. So come along. Let's take a ride. Well, I was cranked right on up. She's a good girl. And like I say, it's been a while. A long while. And we haven't driven Alice much. It's just because economic factors. Yep. Gas is high. But what we're going to do first is we're going to go down and check those gas prices. So maybe you can tell me what gas prices are in your area. You know, in the comments below the video. And there'll be many occasions along this ride, if you so choose to listen to the ramblings of a little old man in the deep south of Alabama. You know, I try to make my videos as common as I can, sort of a place to come to escape the troubles of the world. But, you know, you still got to deal with reality. And there are times when I share my real. Now look at that sky. There's not a cloud to be seen. No, there's not. Clear blue it is. We love them speed bumps, don't we? Yeah, we do. But yeah, Maybe you'll see a little color in the deep south. Yeah, it just seems like things will start to turn a little yellow, maybe crimson too. We might see a little bit of oranges and ambers as we go along. But then, normally what happens is we'll get a killing frost the next day. There won't be a leaf on the trees, and fall will have come to an end. But that's okay too. It's been unbelievable weather here this past week, for us anyway. We've had temperatures as low in the mornings, like I said, at 27.6 degrees. Another one was 32, and this morning was 35. And yeah, that may be nothing in comparison to where you live. But for us, that's rather unusual. So the first place we're going to stop briefly is to let you see where I filled up little Alice for only second time this year in 2023. Now, considering it's November the 4th, let that sink in. Yeah, I've just been driving her local to the doctors, what have you, Walmart, and Superfoods. Yep, that's the only place we went with Alice. Other than that, she sat in the driveway. And we're here at Buddy's. You know, it's world famous. My favorite convenience store. And what I wanted to show you is right there. Our gas right now is $2.97.9. Yeah, I hate the 0.9. Just get rid of that and say it's $2.98. Come on, people. But that's the way it is. So there we go. Let me know what your gas prices are in your area. And we're going to try to get out here on old 14 and head north. And I'm thinking, if they don't want to kill us, because people tend to speed. Well, we made it out. And we're on our way. And that's what, you know, now that I'm older, now I got a guy riding up my rear, because he's in a big hurry. He's more important than me, or so he thinks. It seems people are really zipping around today. Of course, it is Saturday, and today, like always, during this time of year, people are trying to rush and get everything done and pick up their tailgating supplies. Because, of course, Alabama and Auburn will be playing today, later in the day. I'm not sure about Auburn, but I know Alabama is later today. And will I be watching it? Oh, yes, I will. So here we go. Couldn't see what Bolero was, but I think they were at 307 the last I looked. A lot of difference for just a half mile down the road. So yeah, we'll have to turn that blinker off. You know, when you get older, that little blinky, 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 blinky just doesn't get your attention as much as it used to. Well, there's some nice color on that tree. Yeah, this ain't gonna be like up in the Northeast, driving along the back roads of the Adirondacks, like we would have when I was a child in PA. And we were up in Northwest Pennsylvania, as you know. Sometimes I wish I could have went back. But you know that old saying, after so long, there's no way back home. Because in my experience, well, home just ain't there no more. But we'll see a little bit of beauty along the way. And just like back in the 50s and 60s, especially growing up, that's when my family struggled the most. They started coming out of it in the 70s. Papa had become an officer in the Army, and life was a lot better than in my earlier years. My siblings couldn't remember or hardly experienced the hardest of times. When taking that ride on a Sunday afternoon was the best part of our lives. And sometimes, if there was money available, Papa, he'd take us to A&W root beer. Now we didn't get, no banana splits or sundaes. We just get us one of them small frosty mug root beers. So I'm going to tell you what, you would think our life had changed. It was so good. I can still taste it today. But unfortunately, I can't experience it except if I buy it at the store and pour it out of a can. And I've done that for my kids. I've frosted those mugs in the freezer, and I've made them a frosty root beer. And I've also made them a root beer float. You got your root beer and you put in a scoop of that delectable vanilla ice cream. Life don't get much better than that, my friends. No, it don't. But yeah, things have been weighing heavily on my mind. And I often think that's why my parents took those drives. It was the cheapest thing they could do. A little bit of gas, a little bit of time. We'd be out there for about an hour, or maybe more. Dad'd take it easy on his foot to conserve fuel. That's one thing I got to give little Alice credit. I was calculating up her mileage, before we took this little journey based on fuel I bought. And now granted, all of my driving with Alice since I bought her back in May, and bear that in mind, from May to now, I've only put in 2 tanks. And we're now driving on the second one. And we're starting out full. Life don't get much better than that between me and you. But doing this video is a lot for me, but it's for many of you. Because there are many of you that no longer may have a car. Or you're just not able to drive. And you make comments about how much you enjoy taking a ride with me. And yeah, as you know, as in the Focus, somehow magically Alice can hold thousands of you. It amazes me too. And when I picked out Alice, one of the special features I wanted to pick out was one that the Focus had too. The rumble seat in the trunk. So yeah, you're all in here. I know you're sort of stuffed, but you're all sharing snacks and cold drinks. And for now, everybody's getting along. And that's one thing I'll say about the channel. For the most part, I'd say, 99.5%, everybody does get along. But there are occasions, you know, there's always going to be one of them. We used to call it the turd in the punch bowl is going to come along or float to the top. And I've learned in social media, as I learned through my life, you just can't keep everybody happy, no matter what. And with that said, I don't change my ways. See, this channel doesn't appease to everyone. I mean, in fact, I don't actually do it overall to appease anybody. I do it for me, my kids, my grandchildren, my close friends, which now many of you, my friends and family, are. You see, I've never changed the way I was. I've learned, I've become more. I've always had that motto. When I get up, I'm going to try to be better today than I was yesterday. May not always work out. Sometimes it has, and sometimes not. But if you put that goal out there and strive to do it, I think in the end, you'll be a better person for it. That's just my thought. Whoa, somebody's got a nice travel bag there. Burnt orange, beside the garbage can. Yeah, if I was traveling anymore, and that fit my style, it was a little bit too flashy for me, I might have to stop and pick it up. I'm sure somebody will. Before the garbage man runs. Because it would appear that's going to be Monday for this road here. Everybody's getting them trash cans out beside the road. Yep, it is a beautiful day in my neighborhood. And with that said, I seriously hope wherever you are, in the US, New Zealand, the UK, Canada, Zimbabwe, I can't even name them all anymore now. I truly do wish. And I hope, because I always have hope, that your day is as beautiful too. Because I mean, overall, I've been blessed this year. Of course, it has also been, as some years will be to some folks, more than others, rather tragic. Yep. You know, it's just hard to get past when you almost die. And all of you that have been here a while, you know why. But that gets back to my faith and my gratitude in my God. And like I've told y'all, you got to keep that will to live. Those two things, now at my tender age of 67, and all that's happened in my life, have proved it time and time again. Well, I guess he was washing his windshield and wanted to wash mine too. Oh my. So now I got little bitty spots of his windshield washer on mine. And you know what I got to do? I got to fill up my windshield washer. I forgot. So that didn't do much, thankfully. Didn't smear them. I mean, I just cleaned my windows yesterday and gave Alice just a little bit of a scrub. It didn't get her all clean because she's got tree sap on her. So I got to break out the heavy duty cleaners. But I can't do it next week because I got some serious things coming up. Yeah, here again, those of you been with us a while or more, you know, old Mr. Tom's got a medical situation that's cropped up. Or, you know, so they say, who knows. You never know if it's something or nothing anymore. We're gonna hope it's nothing, you know. But we still gotta go through our paces. You know, I had 3 visits to the urologist, and of course, nothing's been decisive. So next week, finally, since my last appointment in August, let that set in, I've got to go in for an MRI. Yep. I didn't even think I'd ever get scheduled. And that's next week on Wednesday the 8th. Yep. And all this time, has my mind been a little anxious and preoccupied with all of that? Yeah, it has. I mean, some have told me it's nothing to worry about. Oh, they make too big issue out of that. Well, you know me, I have to look into all aspects of a thing. And yeah, for some, it becomes a nothing burden. For others, it can be a life-changing event. You see, that's something I did want to go over today. And I went over it in my last video too. And apparently, with some, it didn't sink in. So, without pointing many fingers, but I just don't do that, because, you see, people, everybody's perception in life is going to be based on their lives, their experiences, their education, their knowledge, and their lifestyles, to just name a few. And like I said in the last video, in life, there's always going to be winners and losers too. Can't everybody be a winner? That just don't work out. Not in gambling, not in finances. No. That's just not the way it is. If that's the way it was, we'd all be rich and living in a utopia, which we know we're not. Well, it looks like the hay crop's all in finally. I did see they got about 5 cuttings this year before the drought set in, and that's another thing. We have now went, you know, from abnormally dry to moderate drought to severe, in my local area here, to extreme. And we're not seeing any rain on the forecast anywhere out to the middle of November too. Yep. I've pretty much given up on the garden. Hey, just cut through my lane too. You see, that's how people are. You know, these 4-way stops, more people get killed right here. Oh, excuse me. Than anywhere else locally. Don't pay attention. People are speeding 70, 80 miles down the state highway. Yeah. I almost got T-boned the other day by one doing that. I looked down the road. It was clear for a half a mile. Started to pull out, and somebody probably doing 80 came out of nowhere. Yes, he did. Well, you might say, I whipped her back, and I missed that car by inches. It shook me up. If that car would have hit me, I'm pretty sure this conversation would not be having had. But thankfully, I spotted it in time. It didn't even check up. And if you look over to the right and you think you saw snow fall, well, that was a cotton field that's already been harvested by the pickers. And what you see is what the harvester left behind. Yep. You know, back in the day when I was young, they would allow people to come out and pick up the cotton that the harvesters left behind. And the poor people would. They'd pick it up and put it in their bags and put it in their pickup trucks or wagons or what have you. And they towed it off to the gin to make a little bit of money. Because that's how times were. Yeah, there was poor and real poor back when I was a child too. And there is now. And a lot of people like to say, well, you know, they didn't work hard enough. And that may be true for some, not all. You know, and I know it's not true for all. You know, and others will say they didn't save enough or invest enough, or they didn't choose the right investments. And yeah, that could be true for some too, but maybe not all. But when people in the comments come out with all that, you know, I'm just tired of hearing people, you know, all the whining and crying about being poor. You know, get over it. You know, you didn't work hard enough. You didn't save enough. You didn't invest right. Yeah. Well, for those, you see, they're looking back at others through the lenses of their life. Because apparently, they did all that right. Or in my mind, they may have did all that right. And we're extremely lucky too. Or maybe by the grace of God, because they were such good people, they came out on top. But as I've learned over life, you know, for the 1%, the elite and wealthy, that's not true. Maybe it is for some, but not a whole lot. Yeah, people need to give it up. Don't be judging others through the lenses of your life. Now, I can tell you straight out, I've worked my little butt off all my entire life. More times than not, I've had 2 jobs. Yes, I have. I saved every penny I could dig up, to include the ones I picked off the street. There have been times in my life, because of circumstances that I could not control, that I've lost it all. And had to sell everything I had but some clothes to wear. And I didn't care. I would have done, and I did, everything it took to get through my personal apocalypse, an SHTF event. You know, some of those were brought on by economic factors such as recessions, job loss. Yeah, I've experienced a few, and if you're my age or older, you went through those too. And you know, always, some people are not impacted, but others are. Look at the Great Recession, as they call it. Yeah, 25 to 27 million Americans that were working, albeit just barely getting by, lost their homes. Think about that. Now, you got to understand that was only 27 million, right? So the remainder of homeowners, renters, you know, remember how many people were getting evicted and put on the streets? People often forget about that. Yeah, but there was so many more. Oh yeah, that didn't happen to you. That's just the way life goes. It's sort of like they always say, you know, part of success in life is being in the right place at the right time. I've grown to understand all that. It's not all, success is not always brought about by hard work, diligent savings. You can have one medical catastrophe and it can all be gone. I know that for a fact because it happened to me twice in my life. You know, I got over one. It took a many a year. Just right as I was getting flush again and things were looking nice, I had another one. Excuse me, y'all. And I'm not complaining or crying, because I got through that one too. So that begs the question, why is my... Oh, we're not going to go down here. What do you say? Well, I'm going to say we're going to back up. We almost went out into the real country while we were chatting. Yes, we did. It's been a while since I've been up here. I don't know if this is dead ends or not, but at least it's paved. I just ain't wanting to get out in the deep country today. Of course, I may have found the deep country here too. It does appear I have. I'm lost. Well, I hope they didn't mind. I don't know where I'm going. You know, there are places in Alabama, even in my small community, as I'm finding out with you today, I've never been to. But we're going to back up on out of here. I hope they didn't mind that we were disturbing them and their privacy. It looks like they've been gathering up some pine needles too. Well, that's a good thing. So let's sort of backtrack a little while, if you don't mind. Woo! We out in the country now. But you know, I learned a long time ago in my life that, you know, if you just give up judging people and try to live your life, you'll be happier. And in reality, does judging one another contribute or benefit anybody? No, it don't. Now, granted, you know, there are things people do they shouldn't do, and I'm not going to agree with, no matter what. Of course, that gets back to we all make the decisions in our lives. Come to think about it, I think I should have took a Ralph here, as we're doing now, than where we went. Now I could have took you down that dirt road, because we've been on it before, but we've been coming from the other direction, back this way. Yeah, I see they clear cut all these pines. Yeah, it sort of looks apocalyptic over there. But they'll be coming through pretty soon and clearing all that away and planting some more pine trees to grow another crop to be harvested sometime in the future. That's one thing about Alabama. That's become a big industry here, where once it was cotton, which, I mean, if you look at farming, which is an agribusiness, but you know, that's the largest still, and then there's corn and soybeans and all that stuff too. But forestry has become really huge. You know, and all the fields and everything where once, you know, agricultural crops grew, as we're seeing on both sides of us now, there's trees. We've gotten really big into trees. In fact, it has been reported that there are more trees in Alabama now than there was when the first explorers came here. You know that old Fernando person? Looks like we having some kind of an event. Well, that's lovely. They got all their ATVs and UTVs, you know, four-wheelers out there, having a good time. And that's what they should be doing. I don't mind. Have fun with what you got, folks. Just like I and all of you are taking a ride. And like I said, if you don't want to hear my thoughts and what I'm clearing my mind, you just turn it off. Turn on your favorite tunes, whether it's rock and roll or jazz or hip hop or rap, or some of that blues or country too, and just enjoy the scenery. And when I come across a surprise, like I have a time or two, you can wonder, oh, I better rewind and see what he was up to. Well, yeah, this year has been trying, but here we are, November the 4th, and I've come through it. And so have all of you. And here again, some for the better, some for the far better, and some for the worst. And in all honesty, as we're riding around right now, I really don't got a clue where we're at. It's been so long since I've been back in here. But it's pretty. It's rural. There's been a little color along the way, but I guess you're sort of seeing now. This ain't as good as up in the Smokies, Adirondacks, the Rockies, and what have you. This far south, you just don't have much color to see. Won't be long now, the pecans, they're starting to fall. But unfortunately, the pecan crop ain't gonna be much this year. Nope. With the persistent drought we've had, since mid-August, well actually, mid-July, Yep, it's really suffered, just like the peanut crop in Alabama and Georgia, where most of your peanuts are grown. That's really suffered. So there's one thing you're going to see, maybe not this holiday season, because you're eating pecans and peanuts, whether you believe it or not, from last year. Because the peanuts harvest in the southeast and southwest is just wrapping up now. Yes, it is. This road's rather rough. But I have noticed with Alice, she tends to ride a little bumpy and crumpy, you know. Especially for those of you back in the rumble seat. You gotta be careful with this road. It makes some turns, baby, that you better not ignore. Well, maybe we're here somewhere where I know where we are. I'm thinking we've come to a place that I now know. Yep, we're back someplace I recognize. Thank God, because I'll be honest. And I know I've probably been down those roads 1,000 times, but I ain't been down them, oh, in years. Because I was doing all that people say we didn't do, working more hours than I can even remember or could ever do again. That's why I had to finally retire in what I did for a living, based on my health, and that I just could not continue on. You know, my base shift was 12 hours a day. That was my minimum. And of course I had to come in an hour early. And if I got out of there an hour afterwards, I was feeling lucky. And I rarely ever did. You know, stuff happened. Paperwork had to be done. And all of that. Well, they're getting the old mill site cleaned up. One day, it'll be gone. But we're coming up the ridge. We're coming back in town. And in all honesty, and this is partly in what I've done, and partly because of the YouTube channel, and many of you, because of the YouTube channel and the great community we have, my life is better than it would have been and could have been if I hadn't restarted the channel and met all of you. Yep. I mean, from time to time, and you know who you are. You've impacted my life too. Yes, you have. Even though I tell you, nothing's expected of you. You don't have to do a thing. Watch the video. Share it if you like. Give us a thumbs up if you're so behooved to. And, you know, if you can, let an ad or two run. Yeah, I know. Oh, YouTube throws some long ones in there, but that's something I'll say. Creators have no control over that, and I'm honest. And if you'd like to see behind the scenes of a creator and how he gets a video ready, because I admit, not all creators tell the whole truth. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard from many, even though I knew the truth, they sort of stretch it a little bit. We do have minimum controls out over the number of ads, or at least initially, you know. We can cut some out. Of course, YouTube will tell you straight up in the terms of use. That don't mean it's going to stay that way, as I've learned. But the length of them, we got no choice. Another thing we got no choice over in the ads you may or may not see, and you know what? The ads I see when I review the channel and the ads you see may be totally different, because it's based on what you watch, where you go on the internet. There's these little things called cookies that accumulate and track you and what you watch, what you buy, where you go. And you know what they use them for? To provide more content to you and your ads. Yes, they do. See, just like him, and the three coming really fast, people here are in a real big rush today. Because, you know, I got to check. I don't know when Auburn's playing today. But I know when Alabama is, and that's early this evening. You know, so that's why I wanted to get this ride in too. Yeah, I was thinking about making some pigs in a blanket. That's all about all. I used to do all kinds of things when my son was here. Of course, he left in 2018. And we'd have a big day when I was off. Of course, that was really rare, so it was a really special time. You know, we'd have that Quazo dip, pigs in a blanket. We'd have chips of all kinds, you know. We'd have wings, my world famous. Oh yeah, I'd have pizza bites. We'd have pretzels. Hey, we'd even have a redneck charcuterie board from time to time. You know, them cheeses, you know, like American cheese. Bologna. Well, that ring bologna, that's rather fancy for all of us. Well, we'd have a little more than that, but you know what I'm saying. So there you go. That wasn't much. Yep. And we're back at my little home place. And for those of you who say sell off the vehicles, well, the Focus is going away. Yep. I made a fortune off of her. I got $440. And I got to clear her out, because they're coming to pick her up one day. They haven't let me know yet which day. Yep, so she'll be gone. It's a sad day. I guess that's why I kept her, you know. But the transmission problem is persistent. And apparently, you know, because it's been repaired before. Yeah, maybe get another year or two, and it just happened again. Ford's as tired of it as I am. So, we're going to say goodbye. So, you'll probably see her around for a little while more, till the old rollback comes by. So, if you want to wish her well, and tell her how much you enjoyed the ride with her, now might be a good time. But there you have it, folks. Just a little ride. I cleared my mind. You know, I wasn't down. Yep, it's been a hard year. But like I say, the thing we have to be thankful for is we're all still here. And, you know, we may have our head above water, maybe our shoulders above water, or our waist. Or for some, we just may be standing ankle deep. You know, that's life. Do me one favor, though. Unless it's wrong, and we all know what's wrong and right. You know, we've known it all our lives. Just let it be on the channel and in the comments below. Okay? Because I do my best to ignore things and go on. And like I've told y'all, if it gets really nasty, I'll make the comments go away. And if the person just can't get over what they say, they go away too. And to date, there's only 5 that I've ever done that to. I try to be a proponent of free speech, but there's nasty and there's hateful. You know, there's self-indulgence. The list goes on and on. If you can't be constructive in our community and comments, which, like I say, 99.95% are, then just go away. We don't need you here. So, y'all, let's unbuckle. Y'all clean up your crumbs, your snacks. Somebody was throwing popcorn in back. I don't know what all that was about. Yeah. And let's call this one done and head her on in. I got to get them pigs and blankets going on. You know, the Kitty Crew and Gracie. When we're all sitting around the big screen watching the legendary Alabama play, they love them pigs. Not so much the blankets, but they'll dig them a pig out of a blanket too. And then they'll bring over the blanket for Papa. Hey, they're so loving, don't you know? Well, y'all, I love y'all. And I want y'all to take care. Stay safe out there. Be appreciative of what you got, whether it's a little or a lot. And understand the situation of others a little better going forward in life. So, with that said, until the Kitty Crew, see y'all on that next episode of Mr. Tom's Neighborhood. May God bless you all. As I always say, as you bless those in your lives. And maybe that little part goes back to a lot of what I had to say today. Just got a text from somebody. I hope it's good. Yeah, I got to get on in there. Won't be long for the game start. You know, it's the last thing I enjoy. College football. Yep, I do. Hey, I think I got a partial block of Velveeta, some sauce, some sausage, and a very kind viewer, a loving friend, sent me some chips. Hey, I got time to make me some cheese dip. Later, all.